What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is me, Mr. Lawrence. This is another episode of the Summer Show. And it's me and my assistant,
Sidekick.
Sidekick. Say what's up.
What's up?
Oh my, I'm losing it. I had to go through some issues trying to upload the other video. It's crazy. I'm a little frustrated. So anyway, we're going to talk about Kirk Franklin and what was happening with Kirk Franklin. Everybody want to give that man some crap because he supposed to be this Christian entertainer, and he cussed his son out over some foolishness. Now I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I ain't heard the whole video. I ain't even watched that much of it. But then when you watch the video, you only see a portion of. You only see the part where Kirk Franklin is cussing out his son, and that's not really fair. Being a parent, I understand that there's gonna be some times where you're gonna lose it. You know what I'm saying? Um, I didn't feel like I had to watch the whole video because Kirk Franklin human. He didn't have issues with addiction and other issues in the past. We shouldn't even be surprised that he did this. But would he do it because he's an abusive parent? Because he just want to be nasty towards his kids? I would think he had a reason to say whatever he needed to say just by watching the video. But I don't know the whole story, and I'm trying to find a video that I can watch. With doing the research for this video, see, my time is kind of limited, so I did the initial video. I'm gonna do some more research on this subject and then do a follow-up video next week. But according to what most people who watched the whole video said, that really Kirk Franklin was not out of bounds for what he was saying. So I watched a few videos. I watched who was it I listed?
You listed Sugar King, Ricky Smiley, Monique, and Steve Harvey.
And Steve Harvey. Okay, so those four people, I quickly put this video together. Like I said, I do slim research on these videos that I do, unless I'm really, really, really familiar with the subject matter. And I advise y'all to go out and do your own research to find out, what really happened, or kind of come with your own point of view. But if you're a black parent and you grew up as a black child, you know that there was a time when your mama and daddy, you pushed them to the edge, and you thought you was probably gonna die that day. So I don't know. You have your own opinion about it. I'm not gonna say I stand next to Kirk Franklin in his what he did, but I'm gonna say that as a parent, I can relate to his frustration. Um, Also, we put people on a pedestal because they do this. We think they should be this type of person. But you got to understand, he's an entertainer. He's making money, regardless if he's doing gospel music or whatever. He's doing what he got to do, using his talent to make money for his family. So, don't think that he's not a person at the end of the day. When he leave out the studio and go be with his kids and wife or whatever, he still is Kirk Franklin. And just because he's an entertainer don't mean he ain't gonna act like a parent or a husband or a human in general. You know what I'm saying? So I want y'all to go out and look at these videos. I'm gonna try to put a link in the description, but I'm gonna have Sidekick read some of what other entertainers were saying about the situation. Read the first two.
Alright, so the first one is Sugar King. He says, anybody who has kids know your kids will drive you up the wall and make you lose your religion, little kids or grown kids. And then Ricky Smiley says, we don't have to put up with crap from our children. We need to stop kissing their butts. Not all of them will appreciate what you do for them. They will not turn out as we plan, no matter how much we do for them. We cannot allow them to be disrespectful to us.
So that was it.
Yeah.
So with Sugar King, he was saying that, this time, like I said, this is, my comments were based on what I, my research, but this, like he said, man, this type of stuff is gonna happen. They're gonna step out of line, regardless of how old they are. I mean, I had an issue take place in my own life where I had to make a decision that I really didn't want to make, and it was sure enough coming to a head one way or the other. But at the end of the day, me and this individual are still, as far as I'm concerned, on good terms. And we talked about it, and we have we are at a good understanding. There's no beef, there's no issues. And then on the other hand, there's another situation that has not been resolved yet. And I have to check myself as a parent and say, hey, are you wrong for saying what you said? And I was like, when I go to sleep, I'm just like, no, I don't feel like I was wrong. And I talked to the person in question. I say, well, do you think I was wrong? But, understanding you talking about somebody who's over 40 and you talking to somebody who just turned 21. And there's a big difference when somebody was, we grew up differently. Somebody was always on my behind about what I was doing because they was my parents and they cared. And not only did my parents look out for me, the neighborhood looked out for me. Aunties and uncles and older cousins looked out for me and was always like, no, you shouldn't do that. Don't make me have to tell your daddy. Or what your daddy gonna say if he find out, or what your mama gonna say, things of that nature. And like Ricky, like Ricky Smiley was saying, we can't be kissing their behind, regardless of how old they get. Like I told mine, I say you always gonna be somebody's child, no matter how old you are, and that goes for me too. My pop, I thought about when Steve Harvey was saying something about putting their business out there in the street. I talked to people about what happened to me when I was a kid, when I was younger. I talked to my relatives, I talked to my siblings, and I could talk to my wife about it. And I, don't go into too much depth, but I talked to my kids about it because I want them to understand where I came from. But and how I feel about it now, it still hurt. It still hurt. I mean, it happened over 20 years ago, and it still hurt. But am I going to put my dad out there on Front Street for what? It's not going to do me any good because he's still going to have his view on how he saw the whole situation. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes some issues, you kind of miss your window to address it. In certain situations, you kind of miss your window to address these things. So, I reached out and, and talked to him the best I could about it. And I told him how I felt, and I forgave him and we settled our issues. But it's still in my mind. But after I done talked to him about it, there's nothing more I can say about the situation. He know how I feel about it. I know how he felt about it. And I think that, there was times when I was reaching out and asking for stuff. And I would call home and ask my mama for something. And my mom was like, all you ever do when you call home and you ask for something, you don't never call me, ask me how I'm doing. You don't never check on your daddy. You don't never do this. You don't never do that. And I got mad. I cussed my mom out. Seriously cussed my mom out. I hung up the phone on her. I was sitting in that phone booth. Yeah, some of y'all don't know what the phone booth is. I was sitting in that phone booth and I sat down right there in that phone booth and I cried. I cried like a baby. I think I was probably maybe 21, 20-ish, roundabout, somewhere up in there. And I called her back. I told her I was sorry because at that moment I realized that, man, you just cut your own throat. And your mama been providing for you even when she ain't supposed to. And you supposed to be grown. And you the one left home. Nobody told you to leave home. You left home because you wanted to. And you mad because she won't give you something? You mad because, I was pissed off because she wouldn't give me no more money, When I was working at McDonald's and I, was really like, man, I got to call my mama, when I need something. And in my eyes, I kind of failed at what I tried to do when I left home. And, nobody said don't go because nobody wanted to hold me back from making, I guess, my first adult decision to lead my own life. But they were expecting me that when I left home, that I shouldn't have to call back and ask for anything. It'd have been something different if I was established. I had my own apartment. I had my own. I had my stuff together, and it was like, hey, I'm short on the bill. Can you send me some money? But I was, man, running around smoking weed. I wasn't really settled. I was living with this girl. Relationship went south, so I was out. I did, apartment wasn't in my name, so I mean, I was living with different people, uh, living out of my car. I had stuff in storage. Man, I was doing bad, bro. Bad. Like, I just was begging people for, hey man, can I stay on your couch? And it was not cool. You know what I'm saying? They expected me, because I acted grown, they wanted me to be grown. So I try to talk to young kids about that all the time, man. If you feel like you can't make it and you're gonna constantly continue to rely on your parents, you might want to stay home. It's better for you to be at home, rely on them, and have something, going to school, you working, paying your own, car note, your own insurance and stuff like that, rather than to be out, have your own apartment, or be out of the house and can't hold it down for yourself. It's a different story when you ask them for help, and then when you reject it, you can't get mad because nobody actually leave. And then when you come back home, or you at home, you looking like, oh well, I'm grown, I do what I want to do. Starting, it really doesn't work that way. You got to, you got to understand, it's not your castle. Even if it ain't your castle, you still can't just run over your parents like that. That's not how it works. And some of them just don't get it. And as parents, we can't allow the order of things to be disrupted, because like I said, no matter how old you are, you still somebody's parent. I mean, you still somebody's child. Whether you 45 or 75, you still should give your parent that much respect, in any situation. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Um, my mom took care of my grandma up until the point where she passed away. When my mom passed away, she was always there. And my mom was still working when she passed away. You know what I'm saying? So my mom was, for my grandma, she was there for my grandma like that, and I could see the level of respect between them two. It was crazy. It was awesome. Like my uncles was the same way. So, a message to your youngins, man, don't burn them bridges, man. You know what I'm saying? All right, go ahead and read the last two.
All right, so this one is Monique. Let's not make people more than what they are. Let them be human. We have become too sensitive and weak to a point where we can't talk to our own family. She goes on to say, I'm going to add a couple of MFers and a raggedy. Hey. Well, is not what I'm saying the truth? I can't talk. Well, then move on with your feelings, because you weren't in your feelings when you were being slick with your mouth, and you weren't in your feelings when you were breaking curfew. And then the last one is Steve Harvey. Kirk's Franklin's son posted the part of the conversation he thought would hurt Kirk. He didn't post the part of what he was asking of Kirk, and he didn't post what led up to Kirk's anger. Every man that has a son has practically had this conversation with their sons. They reach a certain age when they're smelling themselves and start bucking the system. Kirk's son had it coming.
So I can remember being a kid, and this is in reference to what Monique was saying, when my dad would ask me to do something after school. He said, when you get home from school, I want you to cut the grass. I was like, okay. And I'm going to tell y'all before I get deep in this story, this ain't the first time. This would be the 10th or 12th time that he asked me to do this. Now, he would be like, okay, the grass needs to be cut. He expected me, I think what he wanted me to do, he wanted me to surprise him. He wanted me to show some responsibility, like, look at the grass, the grass needs cut, go ahead and do it. Now, even till this day, it sounds kind of retarded, but you really have to tell me to do some things, or ask me to do some things, because I'm really not thinking in that manner. You know what I'm saying? But I know that, as where's she at? She looking for my cat, y'all. She's fooling around. I know that some things need to be done. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like I don't have to be asked to get up and go to work, but I look like I'm gonna cut the grass when I feel like cutting the grass. That's the type of person I am. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna come home and look at the grass like, yo, it need to be cut. But if I was trying to dictate um to one of mine like my dad did to me, it would be a different story. It's not about, I'm bossing you around. It's like I'm trying to show you some responsibility. You're not working, so do some work around the house. You know what I'm saying? And we can keep it smooth like that until it comes time for you to elevate to the next level. So my dad would say to me, he'd say, hey, when you get home from school, cut the grass. I'm like, okay. I come from school, I'm like, man, G.I. Joe was on, Transformers, freaking, all kinds of cartoons on. So I kick back in the chair. Next thing I know, it's 5 o'clock and he pulling up. I'm like, oh snap, the grass ain't cut. So I walk out the house, like I'm finna, cut the grass and everything. And he's like, yo, why you even done this? And I'm like, I don't know, and that's not an excuse. So he would say, hey, go ahead and cut the grass before it start raining, before it get dark. And I would be out there late cutting the grass. Happens again 2 or 3 times, 4 more times, and he has reached his tolerance level. So he come home, and my mom would be home. And she too was on that, like, look, I'm not going to remind him. This is his responsibility. He need to learn responsibility. I'm not going to remind him of what he need to do. So come home, I probably was asleep or down the street or something, and my dad just lose it. And he was like, why you didn't cut the grass? You should have cut the grass. Now, I didn't get no whooping. I didn't get in trouble for it, but I don't remember getting in trouble for it. But he did lose his beans, and he's like, yo, this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. You should have cut the grass. Why ain't cut the grass? And I was just like, yo, like, Mom, why is he going off? He ain't got to do all that. And she was like, but if you would have cut the grass, this would have never happened. Don't you agree? And I'm like, why are you taking his side? See, as a youngster, and if you keep that young mentality, you're not going to understand that because you're only thinking about, oh, I didn't want him yelling at me or I didn't want her fussing at me. No, my mom used to ask me to do the dishes. I didn't do the dishes. She was just like, go off because I didn't do the dishes. And I ain't talking about go off like that, but she showed an attitude because I didn't do what she asked me to do. She asked me to clean my room. My dad asked me to do this. And then I would just go back and forth like, yo, man, mostly with my mom, like, why he got to act like that? That didn't really catch on until I was out the house. You know what I'm saying? So even though Kirk Franklin's son, 33 years old, I believe without watching the whole video that he was really trying to set his son up. I agree with Steve Harvey. He was trying to set his dad up. You know what I'm saying? Because why would you just upload the part of the video that shows your daddy cussing you out? I would never do something like that in my power. I could talk to him directly. Or if I'm going to talk to anybody, to like really address him, I'm not talking about venting about it. I'm gonna talk to one of my siblings about a situation. You know what I'm saying? It's foolishness. It's to me, it's just ridiculous, man, because you acting like, you in your feelings at 33 years old because you feel like your dad is treating his new family, I guess, better than what you got, or you feel like you entitled to some things you're not getting. Come on, bro. 33 years old, you should be established. Now, if you was established and still in your feelings, I feel less about this situation, for real. And like Monique was saying, man, you pushed it to the limit to where he probably was cool in the beginning. I seen a documentary on this man, Kirk Franklin, years ago. And I'm pretty sure that, the way I seen it, like the dude was really about taking care of his family, making sure his family had stuff. That's the way I saw it. That's just the way I saw it. I couldn't see it no other way. But like I said, we all human. And I mean, you can only rub somebody the wrong way for so long before they go off. You know what I'm saying? And if he don't understand that, I'm pretty sure ain't the first time his dad done popped off on him. That's his dad. Ain't the first time. It's not the first time his dad done said something out the way. Ladies and gentlemen, that ain't the first time. It can't be the first time. At 33 years old, his dad done said, Kirk Franklin done said that I put my foot in your whatever more than once. Had to. After 33 years, he probably said at least once a year. I guarantee that. So I done heard it from my mama, my daddy. I done heard it from other uncles and aunts. I'm telling you, I know he done heard it from his daddy more than once. It's something that is something that in some households, that's how it's communicated. And then I'm gonna tell you something else. That word is not. That is not to be taken seriously. It's more or less a description of how the parent is feeling. Now, I've said things like that. And then people want to take, oh, well, why did you say something like that? I was like, do you really think I would kick my child? Do you really think I would try to harm my child in that manner? No, I'm trying to describe how I'm feeling right now. I'm so mad, I could bust your head open. I'm so mad right now, I could kick you in your behind. You know what I'm saying? I'm so mad right now, I could body slam you. But I'm not going to risk going to jail behind your foolishness. You would have to live on the other side of that door before I allow myself to go to jail behind some foolishness like that. I'm not going to put my hands on you for no reason. It'll have to be in self-defense. And, you know, it never has to go. Should never have to go that far. You know what I'm saying? But 33 years old, man, he should understand. He should already know by now. If he ain't got no job, he ain't got himself situated. Come on, man. Kirk had plenty of money. He had enough money to get this man straight. With a car, apartment, something like that. I'm pretty sure he helped this man out the best he could. So, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. We're gonna do a follow-up on this. This video wasn't supposed to be this long. It's okay. I was in my feelings. Because I didn't like what I heard about this. But hey, wow. Y'all drop a comment and tell me what y'all think about this whole thing. And I get back with y'all next week. Peace.